So this problem is like number 3. You're given a graph and you have to come up with a possible equation. So the first step you want to do when doing this is you want to look at the graph and find where the zeros are. So if I'm looking at this graph, I could see there's a 0 at x equals -5. X equals -5. There's a 0 at x equals 0. And then there's a 0 at, what is that? 1, 2, 3. So x equals 3. And this one, do you see how it bounces? Let me show you how it bounces. Because it starts going towards the x-axis, but instead of crossing it, it bounces away. That's a double root. Okay, so we know we now have to think about what factors would give us these roots. So if we had x minus 5, the factor would be x plus 5. Okay? Because then you would subtract 5 on both sides, and that's how you get the -5. For the x equals 0, that's just a plain old x. And then this double root of x equals 3, well, to get the 3 to the other side, we subtract it. So we're going to end up with x minus 3, and it's squared because it's a double root. Okay, so this is a possible equation for this graph. Okay, so when you're doing this, you want to look at the zeros. So let's do another example. So let's turn this one off, and let's turn this one on. And let's erase this stuff. So this time, let's look at all of our zeros. So we've got zeros at, sorry, bear with me for a second. So this time we have zeros at x equals -1. Okay, this one looks like it's a double, and it's at x equals 2. Okay, and they said that's a double root. And then finally, we've got a 0 right here, and that's at x equals 3. And again, we're just going to write these as factors. Then we're going to look which one has the correct factors. Remember, we don't care about if there's a number out front, only if that number would change the end behavior. Okay, so this time, we have one at -1, so that must be x plus 1. Then we have one at 2 right here, so that must be x minus 2. And then we've got one right here at 3, so that must be at x minus 3. Now I can't forget that this 2 is a double root because look how it's coming close to it, and then it bounces away. So that's x minus 2 squared. Now, if we look at this, it actually matches right on, so that's perfect. Let's look at this first one again. So we have the first one, and here it is. And you see how it's not matching right on? It's because there might be a number in front of it. But all we're really worried about, and don't let this confuse you, all we're really worried about is we're worried about if the zeros are crossing in the right locations. Okay, if the zeros are crossing in the correct locations, it might be a possible value. So let's see if we can make this go right on. I'm just going to play with some numbers real fast. Let's try just putting in like a 1 over 5. Nope, 1 over 15. Look at that. See, so if you're looking at the possible equation, don't mind this number in the front. As long as you've got the zeros, look at how our zeros match up. We are good then. Okay, so that's what you should look for number 3.